Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance. And today we need to talk about something much bigger than a new hero, a new titan, a new skin, or even a new season. Because Guardians. Hero Wars, Alliance is changing. And not just a little. Over the last few days many players have noticed strange things happening inside Realm. Monster fights suddenly becoming harder. Troop losses increasing dramatically. Gathering behaving differently. New systems appearing. And naturally, many players started asking the same question. What is happening? Well, Guardians. Today we finally have a much clearer picture. And whether you love these changes, hate these changes, or simply don't know what to think yet. One thing is certain. This day was always coming. Realm was never designed to stay exactly the same forever. And now we are beginning to see what may become the biggest Realm update since the mode was introduced. Because Guardians. Realm is getting a global map. And this single change alone has the potential to completely transform how players interact with the game. For the first time, players on the same server will no longer exist inside isolated worlds. Instead, everyone will share the same battlefield. The same mines. The same bosses. The same objectives. The same opportunities. And of course, the same competition. Suddenly Realm becomes alive. Instead of simply developing your own territory, you will begin seeing the territories of other players around you. You will begin seeing guild activity around you. You will begin sharing the map with everyone else. And immediately this creates an entirely different experience. But Guardians. The global map itself is only the beginning. Because another mechanic arrives together with it. Teleportation. Now this may sound simple. But the implications are enormous. Guilds will likely begin grouping themselves together. Positioning will matter. Distance will matter. Coordination will matter. Because when a guild launches a boss rally, troops will first travel to the rally leader before marching toward the target itself. Suddenly geography becomes strategy. And strategy becomes power. Now let's talk about something many players have already started discussing. PvP. Because yes, Guardians. Realm is moving toward player conflict. Not fully. Not yet. But the first major steps are arriving. Players will be able to scout occupied mines. Players will be able to attack occupied mines. And perhaps even more importantly, guilds will begin fighting over fortresses. Now before panic starts spreading everywhere, let's clarify something. There is currently no direct realm destruction. You are not invading entire realms. You are not destroying player cities. And you are not launching massive server-wide wars. At least not right now. But what we are seeing is the beginning of something much larger. The foundation is being built. And that foundation starts with mines and fortresses. Speaking of fortresses, these may become one of the most important strategic objectives in Realm. Fortresses are guild-controlled structures located on the global map. They have levels. They provide percentage bonuses. They can be defended. They can be reinforced. They have protection periods. And guilds may control up to 3 of them. Think about that for a moment, Guardians. This is no longer simply a matter of logging in, collecting resources and logging out. Guilds will have territory. Guilds will have objectives. Guilds will have locations worth defending. And that immediately creates something many players have been asking for. Purpose. Because once fortresses arrive, positioning and coordination become part of the gameplay itself. And personally, Guardians. This is one of the most interesting parts of the entire update. Now another area receiving major attention is research and guardians. This one could end up being absolutely massive, because the current research system is expected to expand dramatically. More technologies, more army bonuses, more economic bonuses, more realm bonuses, and perhaps most exciting of all, faction bonuses. Yes, guardians. Faction bonuses. And if this system delivers what is being promised, it could completely change how players approach progression. Imagine developing not only your heroes individually, but also strengthening entire factions through research, honor, chaos, progress, nature, mystery, eternity. The possibilities become enormous. The good news is that existing research progress will transfer into the new system, so players won't lose months of work. Instead, the system evolves alongside them. Now, guardians. Let's talk about something that many of you noticed immediately. Combat. Because whether players realized it or not, combat has already changed. The recent adjustments to realm battles were not random. They were intentional. The goal was to reduce the overwhelming influence of powerful heroes and increase the importance of armies. Now, whether players agree with that decision or not is another conversation entirely. But the direction is clear. Armies matter more. Heroes matter less by themselves. And guardians. That explains why so many players suddenly started seeing different battle outcomes. Some players loved it. Some players hated it. But everyone noticed it. And honestly, this was probably one of the strongest signals that bigger changes were on the way. Now, another system arriving alongside the global map is the seriously injured mechanic. And guardians. This is actually very important, because many players were worried after seeing troop losses increase dramatically. The solution appears to be a new building. A structure capable of recovering seriously injured troops. Instead of losing everything permanently, players will have methods to restore soldiers, through time and resources. And that should provide a much healthier long-term balance for realm warfare. Now, guardians. Let's move to another topic that may be just as important as realm itself. Events. Because if realm is changing, events are changing too. And according to current plans, the next season may look completely different from what players are used to. The adventure stays. The adventure shop stays. Most offers stay. But the event structure itself is expected to undergo a major overhaul. Instead of many separate disconnected events, the future seems to be moving toward larger event blocks. 3-week-long events. 1 3-day event. 1 4-day event. And each of them containing multiple sub-events and dedicated shops. Sound familiar, guardians? It should. Because we are already seeing elements of that structure inside the ORM event. And honestly, this may explain many of the changes we've seen over recent months. The developers appear to be preparing a completely different event philosophy. And that philosophy leads directly into another important topic. Resource hoarding. Because guardians. For years many players have been conditioned to save everything. Keys. Coins. Artifacts. Resources. Shards. Everything. Waiting. Waiting. And waiting some more. The direction now appears to be different. The goal appears to be creating systems where one action creates progress in multiple places. Complete your daily activities. Advance several objectives simultaneously. Spend resources. progress multiple events simultaneously, and Guardians. If they manage to make this work correctly, it could make progression feel far more natural than it currently does. Because let's be honest, most players enjoy playing the game, not staring at resources they are afraid to touch. Now there was also another very important confirmation. Alliance of Forces is not returning. That appears to be final. And Guardians. Whether players loved it or hated it, Alliance of Forces was a major event for account progression. So seeing it disappear permanently is certainly significant. Now let's finish with something that many players have been waiting to hear. Future seasons. Because yes, Guardians. The next season is dedicated to honor. And judging by the excitement surrounding that announcement, many honor players feel that it is long overdue. But it doesn't stop there. After honor, chaos? After chaos, progress. And suddenly a pattern begins to emerge. Faction-focused seasons. And Guardians. This opens enormous opportunities for future heroes, skins, relics and progression systems. So where does all of this leave us? The answer is simple. Hero Wars is entering a new era. Realm is evolving. Events are evolving. Research is evolving. Combat is evolving. Some changes will be popular. Some changes will be controversial. And some changes will probably need adjustments after release. But one thing is certain. The next few months may become some of the most important months in the history of Hero Wars and Guardians. Whether these changes become incredible successes or valuable lessons for future improvements, we will be here to follow every step together. So let us know what you think. Are you excited about the global map? Do fortresses interest you? What do you think about the future of events? And are you looking forward to honor, chaos and progress seasons? Let us know in the comments below. Stay tuned, stay sharp. And as always, salute and friendship.